Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my review of the 2012 dark comedy Revenge for Jolly. Now, before I get around to sharing more of my thoughts on this film, I would like to give a special shout out to Steven for requesting this review. And if there's another film, TV show, or topic that you would like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to either my PayPal or to my Patreon. The link to both is in the video description down below, and I will try to get to your requests as soon as I possibly can. Now, Revenge for Jolly is one of those films that has pretty much been relegated to the dustbin of cinematic history, and after seeing it, I could definitely see why. It's one of those dark black comedies that has some funny bits here and there, but for the most part, it's forgettable. It's definitely not something that I would say is a gem. It's the kind of typical movie you would find on Tubi or Amazon Prime or any of these other streamers that you could stream either for free or with ads. Like, it's that kind of entertainment. I've seen worse than this because I think there were some genuinely good or at least salvageable things about the film, but I've definitely seen a lot better, and it's absolutely not a film that I plan on watching again because there's really no point to it. There's no point to watching this again. You watch this once and you're good. Maybe you can watch one of the funnier scenes on YouTube, but other than that, like there really isn't much going for this film, other than maybe a few performances. One performance in particular, to be honest. It's directed by Chad Harbold, and the direction for a Chad, it's not too bad. Like, it's one of those films where the directing is definitely very indie, very low budget. At times, though, that leads to some genuinely intriguing shots. So it's a film that features some direction that is a little bit different than your usual flair. The director definitely was trying to add a signature style to it and played around with the camera and angles and different perspectives and overall techniques, and at times it really does almost pay off because it makes the film look kind of slick and kind of cool when it comes to certain shots. But at other times, it's overcompensating because of the fact that this isn't really a movie that needs or really benefits a whole lot from that kind of ambitious direction. So it's one of those things where I appreciate the fact that the director actually did give it a pretty significant effort. Like, he didn't half-ass it, in my opinion. He went all out, but it's not really a film that benefits greatly from that because of the fact that there are so many other elements that are weak. So it's one of those movies where the direction pretty decent. I would say the direction is one of the few highlights that this film has, but it's still not direction that I would say is right up there with some of the greats. But it definitely is direction that shows some potential, which is more than I can honestly say for a lot of other cheap direct-to-video or direct-to-streaming films that I've seen. Like, this actually seemed like it was directed by a guy who had some actual talent. Uh, the screenplay, though, by Brian Petsos, who also is the star of the film. Here's the thing about this script: there are some really funny moments of dark comedy in this, and I like the idea of the overall film. It's simple, but I think the overall concept of the movie is quite effective. It doesn't all lead up to a satisfying conclusion in the end, but the main concept, the main plot of the film, it works for what it is. It deals with this mysterious guy who talks about how he's a good guy in narration, which that is a problem with this script. Like, too much narration. It really did feel like padding most of the time. Oh, the only way we can get this to be an hour and 18 minutes is if we have a lot of scenes of this guy blabbing and doing narration. But this guy talks about how he's a good guy, but he's done some bad things. You get the gist of what happened when it comes to him and a job gone wrong, or he took some money from some pretty bad people and he hasn't paid it back yet, so he's in trouble. And the same people then decide to retaliate by breaking into his house and killing his dog, Jolly. So that's why you have the title Revenge for Jolly. And this guy decides to go along with his friend, Cecil. So you have Harry, who's the lead. Harry and Cecil team up to get revenge for Jolly. And I know I probably shouldn't have thought of this film and this particular scene when I was looking at the little dog that was hung on the ceiling fan, but it reminded me of Ford Fairlane. You know, the whole scene where Ford comes home and sees a koala hung on the ceiling fan. Um, and Ford Fairlane, this definitely is not. But I did kind of chuckle at that, even though yeah, it's messed up and it's dark. But it was just one of those things where I think also the reaction from Petsos is kind of funny unintentionally. There's a lot of unintentional comedy in this because of Brian Petsos' absolutely putrid and pathetic acting most of the time. This guy is like a dollar store, Dollar General Jake Gyllenhaal, or the bastard son of Crispin Glover and Josh Peck. Like that's really what this guy is. Um so yeah, Harry and Cecil, they team up and they're gonna get revenge on Jolly, or for Jolly, and they get in various different misadventures along the way. They steal some beers, they go to a Mexican restaurant and get drunk and then get high. They go to a hotel room where there's a hooker and they're trying to get information from the hooker to find out where the guy is that killed Brian's dog. Um, Harry's dog. Sorry, my bad. The actor who plays him is Brian. Killed Harry's dog, and that scene was kind of funny because of the fact that Cecil is wanting to allow the hooker a chance to live because she was willing to give them the information, but Harry just winds up pumping her full of lead, and the reaction from Cecil is funny because he's like, "What the fuck?" And then you have Harry, and there's some good deadpan here where he's like, "You missed." It's like, I wasn't trying to kill her, you know. So I thought that was pretty funny. And then there was a scene later on at a wedding reception, which was brutal and bloody and just absolutely full of carnage. And there's this scene involving Harry where one of the wedding guests, she throws ranch on him, and his flip out in that scene is one of the most unintentionally hilarious bits of bad acting I think I've seen in a long time. It is so fucking funny. I was laughing until my sides caved in when I first saw this whole scene unfold. The guest throws ranch on him. He's like, it's on my shoes. It's all over my pants. You can't throw ranch. Just like, You just can't. And then he just flips out some more, and he's just like, no! It is so bad. Like, the acting in that scene is awful, but it turns from so bad it's good because of how awful the acting is. And like, just the whole idea of this guy just flipping out over ranch dressing is genuinely funny. But it's what makes it even funnier is just the laughable attempts by Brian Petsos to try to act during that scene. And it's moments like that and the you missed and just some of the black comedy, like the whole scene where they go to this before they go to the wedding reception, Harry and Cecil, they go to this lawyer's office and they're trying to get information, and it just turns into an absolute clusterfuck with gunfire and bodies on the ground, and it's just absolute craziness. And then it leads into the wedding reception where the bodies hit the floor. They shoot up like half the fucking wedding reception, and poor Kristen Wiig, the bride, gets a gun butt to the face and sees her husband get gunned down. And you're thinking, okay, it's gradually escalating, it's gradually building up to something that could be kind of special. And I'm kind of getting into that dynamic between the two guys, the two friends, and they find the location of the guy who killed Jolly. They drive up there, and then the movie decides to be all artsy fartsy and just full of bullshit with the ending where Harry goes in the house, meets the guy who killed his dog, um, Bachmeyer, and there's a wide shot of Bachmeyer's house. You hear audio of Harry and Bachmeyer arguing, and then you hear gunshots, and then the movie fades to black, and then end credits. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell was that? What kind of ending was that? That's fucking lame. Like, really? You're not even going to show the revenge in your film called Revenge for Jolly? Like, it was all building up to that. It seemed like it was all building up to him getting revenge over the death of his dog. He finds the guy who did it, and then you never see what happens. You don't see if he kills the guy and gets revenge. You don't see if he gets killed by Bachmeyer. You don't see any of that. And you also don't know what the fate is of his friend and his partner in crime and Cecil, who's been absolutely fucked up throughout this entire crazy night of revenge. I mean, the guy's got a busted up nose, his hand got shot at, and all right, what's going to happen with him and his girlfriend? Like, nothing is resolved. Like, nothing, the story isn't finished. It just ends. And you're like, what? Like, all of that, like, a good chunk of the movie is build up to that moment, and then it just stops. Like, I hate it when films do that. It reeks of just lazy screenwriting and just poor storytelling, if you ask me, 9 times out of 10. And it's pretentious and just absolute shit, especially for this kind of movie. Like, it doesn't even feel earned. It just all of a sudden is like, now I'm going to be a pretentious art house film and end like this and have this ending that's up to interpretation. And I'm like, you can interpret these 2 middle fingers. How about that for that fucking bullshit ending? That excuse of an ending that you decided to come up with, Brian Petsos. Or like Brian Pesos. because your writing ability is worth about as much as a couple pesos. I don't even know if I would even pay you pesos for your acting, let alone your writing. And speaking of acting, yeah, he's the lead in this. He plays Harry, and he's just horrible. He doesn't have really any chemistry with Oscar Isaac, and Oscar Isaac, who plays Cecil, he's the MVP of this movie. Like Oscar Isaac is honestly kind of incredible in this. You could genuinely see the makings of a potential future star with his performance in this. He's trying to carry this film as far as he possibly can, but he can only do so much. He gets in a lot of ways the sequences that feature the best acting, and he also gets the moments that provide the most sincere bits of comedy, not the kind of comedy where you're laughing at the guy trying to act, but you're actually laughing at the situation or the reaction from the actor during a scene. Uh, yeah, Oscar Isaac I thought was good, and he was one of the main reasons why I was even willing to stick with the film despite all its issues. And it's honestly too bad that he was just saddled with Petsos, who can't fucking act and isn't that good of a writer. It seems like he only worked with him because of the fact that they were colleagues. They had worked together on another project, a short film that won some awards. Um, Elijah Wood is in this for like a brief cameo as a bartender who gets shot. Ryan Phillippe plays the Bachmeyer with a twisty mustache, but he's in it for like what feels like 30 seconds, to be honest. Kristen Wiig from SNL, she's in this as Angela. Um, it was kind of fun to see her play this trashy character. This is the very total opposite of the kind of roles that she's more well known for. Uh, Adam Brody, he's in this as some guy named Danny Fedazzo. Uh, Gillian Jacobs is also in this as Tina. You got Bobby Moynihan, who was also on SNL as one of the Fedazzo brothers. He was fun in his little scene that he had. David Rash, Sledgehammer from the show Sledgehammer. He's in this as Eichelberger. Um, you also have Amy Sametz. You might recognize her. She plays a character named Vicky. Now, the cast, like I said, it's actually got a lot of talent there, but it all doesn't gel together because the script is just so uneven and isn't really that good. So I mean, there's only so much that performers can do if you give them something that's so flawed to work with. But some of them you could definitely tell, like, all right, you could see it. You could see Oscar Isaac as a potential star. You could see Kristen Wiig and Bobby Moynihan as potential big players. Like you could see all of that because they definitely showcased some acting ability and talent on screen, despite so much else about the film that's going uh, against them and not in their favor. The cinematography by Daniel Katz is okay. Same thing goes for the editing by Micah Scarpello and Vito DiSario. I like the music by Whitey. I think it's kind of crazy that there's a band or a composer named Whitey, but I legitimately didn't mind the score. It was a nice synth score. Um, Gave the film a different kind of mood and atmosphere at times. Definitely did help some of the scenes where the two lead guys are just driving around, drinking and getting high, because it just helped create a certain vibe. And I mean, thankfully, it is only like 85 minutes, and that's with the end credits. You take out the end credits, it's even shorter. So it's not like it's a film that's like way too long, but it does get tedious at times because of the fact that it's just so inconsistent. And when it comes to the writing and when it comes to mainly the lead guy the lead character who also narrates most of the movie, he's not as cool as he thinks he is, and he's more of a lame ass loser than anything else. And honestly, I would have preferred to have seen Oscar Isaac be the lead. Have this guy be the sidekick. I think that would have been better instead of uh, um, Harry. And if you're gonna have this Harry character be the lead, then Brian Petsos should have actually cast a real actor to play this character from his script. I think that definitely would have helped quite a bit because the guy just doesn't have much of a screen presence, doesn't have much charisma, and he doesn't have much acting ability. I mean, he's not even listed as on IMDb anymore as an actor. So that's saying a lot. Like if you go on his IMDb and you look up his filmography, you don't see his acting credits. You only see his credits as a writer and a producer. That's pretty telling. That even the guy who starred in the film doesn't want his name to be associated with this on IMDb when it comes to being the lead actor. So yeah, I got nothing else to say about this one except yeah, I would probably say skip this one. Um, there's really not a whole lot to recommend here unless you're a diehard SNL fan. You want to see Bobby Moynihan and Kristen Wiig in some small bit roles outside of SNL, or you're just a huge, enormous super fan of Oscar Isaac. If you're either of those two, then maybe it would be worth like a watch on a rainy day. But other than that, like, yeah, I can't really recommend this one. But anyway, thanks for watching my review of Revenge for Jolly. And as always, I'll see you later. See ya.